Hi everyone, this is Lori with 3 Keys Astrology. I hope you can hear me because I want you to be able to look at the fire during this forecast. And let me get my everything all twisted here correctly. Okay, I think that's good. Excuse my hair, it's a mess. But I'm not doing this for any beauty. This is not a beauty channel. Okay. All right, so first and foremost, I'd like to apologize that your forecast is late. I'm making this video on Monday. I accidentally, before a very busy weekend of travel, made the forecast for the week after. And just for a quick announcement, again to remind you, there's a new reading offered to you that's written and delivered directly to your email box that is on my website, www.3keysastrology.com. Now, because I'm doing that, I'm getting lots of orders. These readings are only $100. You can pop them in your planner, and I tell you what you personally customize to you personally what the energy is like for the month ahead. That's different from the general forecast that we astrologers do, such as these weeklies or monthlies, because we're looking at the rising sign and going through the zodiac, but your personal chart might have a conflict within there or some kind of blessings in there. So let's just be quiet for a moment and still yourself for this forecast that's a pretty intense week. We have a full moon on the rise at 23 degrees Libra. I've given each of you a monthly forecast for April 2025. If you haven't enjoyed those, go look at those, take notes. If you want to become an astrologer, I'm a teacher, and the energy's hot. So let's just quiet ourselves for a moment, look into my fire. If you can, listen to it and hear it. Okay, if you have the chance to make a fire for yourself, you can tap into that energy and feel it. So the positives of fire are that, just like fire signs in the zodiac, people with 3 keys and fire signs, they're warm, they're affectionate, they make us feel warm. There's an excitement and a hope, and there's drive, and there's this element of fire which humankind are not allowed to touch. Fire belongs to the gods in mythology, and it is God's creation. We can't hold it or we'll blister and burn. And so it's good deeds, or in astrology, it's good aspects, are warmth, affection, desire, drive, inspiration. It's a mental energy in the astrology of science. But it's dangerous, isn't it? So we can't hold it because we know the catastrophes that come when fire ravages and fire blazes, and fire internally is our temper, the temperature that we are. So we need it for warmth. We can cook our food on it. So, and that's the treasure of the gods, or the elements of astrology: the water, the fire, the air, and the earth. They are not ours. We pay taxes and we buy property and we own land, but it's not ours. It's everybody's renting. This world does not belong to us. We inhabit it for our born on date till our expiration date. So as you look at the fire this week, I want you to understand the seriousness and dangers of fire. In the world stage, while my channel's more relationship astrology, on the world stage, this is going to be a really, really cantankerous week, and it's going to be a dangerous week. Now, we have some amazing heavenly energies, and for all of you that I'm doing your monthly delivered to your inbox readings for only $100 that are written, that you can put in your planners, put in your calendars, choose your dates and events based on those energies and how you and what you need to work with. I mean, that's the point of an astrology channel that's relationship based. And I think many of you come to me because I'm not a la astrologer. I'm a realist. My sun and moon are in Taurus, and that gives me a good grounding. It makes me a very solid, sure, reliable human being. And so I tell it like it is. And because my Mars is in Aries, that's direct, that's forthcoming, that's high inspiration and insight. And I can tell you that this week, we have so much grace and beauty from the heavens because we've got Venus and Mars that's ride or die. That's I'm staying with you. I'm loyal to you. We're gonna work this out. Stay if you can in that higher realm of the goodness I'll tell you about. But make no mistake, we've got a very, very ugly underbelly. You see, if you're new to my channel, first of all, welcome and thank you so much for subscribing. The truth of the matter is, since last fall, we've had this contentious Mars opposition to Pluto. It moves back and forth. There's a little dance, just like there is when we have a fight or we're shocked by crisis. We dance back and forth between how can we resolve it, but gosh, I hate you, and how could you do that to me, and that's so vile. So that energy's been tipping back and forth for every human being on this planet. And certain signs are really involved in the mess of what this is, and that would primarily be Aquarians versus Leo, and then Taurus and Scorpio. So these are the axis of our sex life, our love and our marriages, Taurus and Scorpio. And then the Leo Aquarius axis has to do with your individual potential to be a leader and what power you have to offer the world in your lifetime. It's your sole purpose, Leo. The vitality you're given, or maybe it's depleted because of issues, and this could be health. The Aquarian side is my individual power and ability in the whole wide world, because Aquarius is the sky, it's the air, it's our brotherhood, our fraternity, the places and groups we belong to, our choices, and where we can take our power of self and knowledge, maturity, education, purpose to benefit society. Or are we on the dark side and we're a detriment to society? Are we depraved? Are we harming society somehow, some way? So I'm going to go day by day first to tell you. I'm going to review for you what Sunday's energy shows. And since this is being forecast on a Monday, you can look back and say, wow, yeah, that's true for me. That was the situation. So this forecast is April 6th through Sunday, April 6th through Saturday, April 13th. So the energy on Sunday was beautiful for those practicing their faith. We are in the couple of weeks before Easter, and this is a promise of a resurrection. And much like that day 2,000 years ago when Jesus went to Gethsemane and then made that trek up the hill of Golgotha, much of that same energy is present today in 2025, this April, because the hatefulness that was going on, the deception that was going on, the betrayal, the Judas kiss that was going on is still very evident today in this week's energy. That's not a coincidence. We live in cycles of time. There are patterns of behavior. And when you're with a good therapist or a life coach or a priest perhaps, or clergy that's trustworthy, that can help lead you and guide you, these patterns are nothing that is a surprise. Grief has stages, anger has stages, venom has repeated spurts, if you will, like a volcano throwing its fire. That's going to happen this week. We will see earthquakes on this planet. We will see volcanoes. There's intense pressure. The political scene is going to get very, very ugly. So back to Sunday, April the 6th. if you were aligned and you're trying really hard to stay in your good nature, to rise above the occasion or situation or dire situation that you're in. Now, I told a lot of you back in November, those of you that are living in abusive relationships and you're feeling emotionally distraught, I told you the timing wasn't right for you to leave then, but it is now. And if you're in a situation like that with an addict or an alcoholic or a drug user or someone who's habitually abusive, you have to get out. This week could be an end of life for people in those situations, and I'm not joking. This energy is really, really bad. So on Sunday, we've got the moon in Leo. It'll be here on Monday and Sunday. The week's tour of our moon is Leo to Libra. And because it's ending with a full moon culmination at 23 degrees of Libra, our Saturday, this forecast ends at the full moon. The full moon is a closure somehow in the area of relationships, and it's any. Doesn't have to be a marriage. All relations, how you talk, how I speak, how you and I interact with each other, it is indeed love and marriage. Libra is. It's that culmination of commitment. And then the equilibrium that occurs in those relationships. And they go back and forth just like the cycles of time. We go forward, we get excited, we get married, and then clunk, reality hits us. And maybe our partner doesn't brush his teeth or wash his hair or whatever your situation is. And then we're like, oh. And I made a commitment to this the rest of my life? And it doesn't matter if the marriage is 10 years old, 20 years old, 30 years old, 2 days old, a week old. We've got these stages and ages of development just like we do from birth to 5, from 5 to 10, from 10 to 20. And so these cycles of time are patterned. On Sunday, with the moon in Leo, the apex and point should be on the sun. And whether or not you have faith, you can always go get some. And I can tell you that every man on this planet right now needs some kind of hope, needs some kind of direction, needs to have a faith, needs to have an external belief, and needs to be working on their eternal life. This lifetime isn't a free-for-all. This lifetime is full of strife and stressors and complications so that you can prove to God above that you're still part of His covenant, that you're still part of His promise, that you still believe in eternity. And He's waiting for us to come home and behave. So on Sunday, we have really beautiful energy most of the day that can help us commune with God, commune with our fellows in church, the fellow moral believers that you share. And this is getting your alignment back, getting your family back on track, getting your children to church, getting your husband to agree that the marriage needs something besides everyday life. You as a couple, I'll give you some questions when we get to the part of our full moon that ask you things about your marriage, because this is about your primary union primarily. Although this is going to happen on the world stage, it's going to happen at workplaces. This is really bad energy, guys. The hard part of our Sunday happens for the East Coast of the United States of America at around 7 a.m. And it's moon against Pluto. And that's this really contentious energy of public unrest or a stirring in you that's just roiling. And it's angry and it's pissed off and it's a stirring within that can explode. That's going to be the truth all week long. And then finally, a healing grace comes because the most beautiful thing that we have going on this week, I love, love, love. We've got Venus and Mars in a trine that's harmonious. That's the lovers saying, I want to understand you. I want to get along with you. How can we cooperate? How can we fix this? Well, you can't fix it if you don't face it. And you can't have these days that are, we pretend or we put in the drawer or the closet, the ugliness that exists between us, and then try to make merry or pretend for occasions or church or public phony appearances. So that's our Sunday. On our Monday, and I do want you to remember this is sort of a bipolar energy. That underbelly cannot be ignored. It will not be ignored. It's there. If you have to work in the public, if you're a police officer, if your job is justice or preventing crime or trying to do rescues for human trafficking or anything really bad, you have to be so very careful. If you're nurses or doctors in the emergency room, there's a lot of bad things going on. And please be rested. Please be ready. Prediction is prevention. And it's going to be a hot week. My fire has literally got the back of my right side of my body, really, really warm. Where the right side of my body away from the fire is a bit cold. And that can be something. Our air here in the Northeast is quite cold. We had frost on the grass this morning. And yet the promise of daffodils that bloomed a week ago are still out there with their little sunshine petals and offering us something better. The daffodils look up to the sky, to the sun. And if you do that in terms of astrology, that's God. The sun is God. The moon is Mother Mary. But there's contention here between sexes, couples, and relationships, whether it's work, whether it's professional or personal. So on Monday the 7th, the beauty and grace we have is not only that the sun, that Venus and Mars, the lovers, are in harmony. And that's why I said we have some really delicious days for recommitments and vows and promising to make better bonds. But also Venus is in a conjunction to Saturn that's right near the North Node in Pisces. And that's promising everlasting love. That's promising death do you part. That is the vow we want during our marriages and what astrologers look for to see that imprint on the couple. So, but make no mistake, underlying this energy, we've got Pluto in Aquarius. We have Black Moon Lilith and Mars, in Scorpio rather, and that's in a square. And then we've got Lilith squaring Mars, Mars and Cancer. So Lilith is in the center of the problem. What's evil? Is there a seductress? Is there a third party in the marriage? Is there a coworker that's backstabbing you between your relationship with you and your boss? That's that triangle, of a pressure cooker that's building and comes to its head later in the week. And I'm getting to that. This is affecting the entire zodiac. This troubling issue is Pluto in Aquarius against Leo, the sun in Leo, your soul purpose. Somebody is interrupting your purpose and your divine purpose, as a matter of fact. Somebody, something, some situation, an illness, a predator, living with the devil, entertaining the devil by your own actions. There's an imbalance here that needs corrected. And then we've got Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio opposing Taurus. Uranus is there. Some other outside entity that's seducing or troubling or infiltrating your sex life, your love, your home, your marriage, your vows. Is it pornography? Is it prostitution? Is it a strip joint in the neighborhood that the community wants rid of? Guys, make no mistake, I am dead set against people that use pornography. I am dead set against thinking there's innocence or anything healthy. For those of you that have webcams that are bringing this kind of hell, porn is filthy. It's against the commandments of marriage and commitment and honor. It's women debasing themselves for dollars to let any creep on the internet see the most personal treasures God gave them, and then engaging in these sex acts virtually with any stranger that gives them money. And I hope to God that this can be eradicated, outlawed, and it becomes the heinous, insidious, vile evil that it is. So I don't want to hear your excuses that you couldn't do something better if you're a stripper, a prostitute, or you have a webcam and you're an OnlyFans kind of person. It's debauchery, it's Black Moon Lilith, and you're evil. And you're ruining our little boys, our husbands, and our lovers. And the shame will be yours for all of eternity. For every one person that you commune with, you're committing a sin and putting yourself in hell, as well as the family you're taking with you. So these issues are sexual when it's the Taurus-Scorpio axis. And then we've got Mars in Cancer, which is opposing the Capricorn. So that's the problem. And then we have, and Cancer is family, and Capricorn is work. So family issues and then workplace issues. And then we've got Libra, where the full moon's growing to and will be on our Saturday. But Aries is the individual making the choice to be in a partnership or not. Aries is the selfish energy within the relationship that's not considering the husband or the wife and is selfish. So that is really, really huge. But the other good thing is, at the beginning of the week, we have a goodness with Uranus and Taurus. And that is, this is offering us an inviting change. Uranus in its essence is the pure unadulterated truth. So we have to face the matter of what's going on. And that pure unadulterated truth is that Uranus can offer us in the realms of Taurus, our home, our family, our land, our property, our values, our morals. Uranus right now near Antares, but it's still near Algol too, those seven sisters weeping of pain and suffering. That Uranian energy in its pure form is coming in to say, I'm giving you some new insights. You can have new inspiration. Invite people like clergy or a therapist or a police officer if you're in danger to come to your rescue and help you make a change. There's all kinds of agencies that'll help you get away from abuse. And these people dedicated their lives. It is their sole purpose to help you rise up and out of the pits of hell. If your partner is doing things behind your back, if you are being betrayed, if they're hitting you and hurting you or hurting your children or abusing your children, those imprints on our bodies, minds, and souls live with us forever, bringing in fear or shame or guilt. And we need to be free of that. And Uranus is a freedom sign. Uranus and Taurus is letting you be free to be who you are. So this gift from Uranus and Taurus at the beginning of the week is saying, come up with a new idea, join with someone else, go to a higher educated service that helps people that are down and out, distraught, and in the pits of hell. And this can be you deciding to set yourself free of porn or whatever you're indulging in that's horrible. So please explore your hot feelings. You've got to get to the issue of these disturbing feelings, because with the Cancer Capricorn axis, this is families that cut each other off. This is this disturbing energy of alienation and refusing your bloodline. And that essentially will come down to, whether it's your generation or the next one, a child suffering from leukemia. That's broken bloodlines. Leukemia is the disease of broken family relationships. It is the cancer, because cancer eats and rots away the body. Where in your body is the cancer? That tells you about the family issues. If it's breasts, prostate, it's a sexual issue where you could have inherited it from debauchery gone by in the karmic relation of family bad habits, where you indulged or you became your father or you became your mother, and that's serious. So the really good news is Mars and Venus together is that you want to work things out. You're committed as lovers. Venus and Saturn with the North Node is, hey, I took a vow. And to me, a vow is a vow to God. And that vow means I will not talk about divorce. I am not giving up. You are my true love. I want to work this out. And how can we do this? How can we make things work? We have that energy all week, in spite of the really bad underbelly. In Pisces is the area where people are priests and clergy and spiritual people that meditate, yogis, whatever your religion is. These are people that are connected directly to God, have a higher mind, have a higher connection to the spirit world than they do the earth world. And they can help guide you to get you out of the opposition of the sky and heaven, the pits of hell. That's real good. That's all week for us. Venus on Monday is even in that a sextile to Uranus, saying you can find a way. Uranus is also in a sextile to Mars, saying two people equally interested to make up with their lover, their family, their estranged daughter, father, mother, son, whatever the family dynamic is. Maybe you've cut off a sister, or this dynamic is here to help repair those relationships and give new insight or get outside help to cure this. Now, very nice on Monday is we've got Neptune in a trine to the moon. Now, I love this. This is happening most especially for Pisces and Leos. And this is that our beliefs, our values, and our shared treasured memories make this a day to remember because we believe in each other. And this is a day when you should take the moment or the time or the half an hour, if you can spare it, to read a story together or go somehow off into the imaginative realm of a shared prayer together or an hour to pray together, or watching a movie that delights you together, or going for a walk and marveling nature together as your couple. This week is all about your primary relationships, make no mistake. So if that person is worth it, and if that person is willing to help you overcome, then give yourselves a half an hour of special one-on-one time. Moon Neptune is very romantic, and it's good for the soul. And it's the glue to the bond for the reason that you chose this mate to begin with. That week's strong all week. Can you stay in that energy? Or are you going to get tipped off balance like the opposition of the sun moon coming with this full moon opposition? And that's really Aries and Libra. Am I going to go off by myself, or am I going to stay in the marriage? Am I going to go off by myself? Am I going to leave this partnership? Am I going to go off by myself and find a new job because hell is work? Work is hell. And there's some demons in my workplace and people that are always stirring the pot and causing trouble. And the same thing with the family. Is it my father against my mother, and now the kids are all distraught and ripped in half and torn apart and, excuse me, fucked up for the rest of their lives because they don't know how people get along, because they have no example of it, because they don't see a union, they see a division, and he sleeps here and she sleeps there, and he buries himself at work all day and she busies herself with her friends, and they're just not together. That's sun and moon. That's couples. She's just taking care of the kids. He's taking care of supporting the family. That's bad. That's coming to build up this week. So you have to look at your own dynamic. Now on Tuesday the 8th, we have Pluto in a square to Black Moon Lilith. And when I did your readings and I told you about the Neptune, go see that video on the channel that I made you, Neptune in Aries, because this is an echo of that energy. Neptune can be the fantasy of what I expected in the relationship. Neptune is the romance part of my dream. Neptune is a dream. It's our dreams sleeping, it's our dreams awake. Neptune's music and pleasure, and when we feel like we're flying because we love the song or the lyrics sail us into the horizons. But Neptune in Aries is Neptune with Mars, and that's an antithetical battle, that the fantasy is not the reality, because Mars is the action we take and what we're really living by those actions. And that's not gelling. I called it seduction and sly, Neptune in Aries, and you can find that. So on Tuesday, this is a very highly combustible day. This is a dangerous day. And like I said, we're going to see earthquakes, we're going to see wildfires, people losing homes. We're going to see a lot of death this week on our planet. This energy is to the end, to the death. This is going to be suicidal, and it's people killing each other because of their hot emotions and the disgraces that go on in the relationship where someone else was probably involved, because Pluto squaring Black Moon Lilith is that other person. It is that evil entity that's interfering with God's path for the couple, or your path in the position of your position at work. We also have Black Moon Lilith squaring Mars, and that's that evil entity luring or seducing or pulling what belongs to you into some other place. And then that energy squaring Uranus. And this is a day when Uranus is not so helpful. It's highly combustible. There will be earthquakes this day. The earth is quaking and the earth is shaking and the pressure is exploding. And so you can expect explosive endings. I promise. I'm sorry. I'm delivering what I see. I've done over 100,000 readings for people worldwide, and I teach astrology. And I have seen these repeated patterns over and over again. The science that I studied is between 5,000 and 6,000 years old. And all of the work before me for 5,000 years for the honorable people that were astrologers and doctors, because you couldn't be one without the other in the Middle Ages. Those people left us beautiful books that show us patterns and probability. And that is how we're able to predict. I am real. I'm not practicing some elusive spell or some weird witchcrafty thing. This is science, guys, plain and simple. Just like doctors by a set of symptoms can predict a prognosis, so can we astrologers by the planetary energy predict outcome. And that's what we're doing. Now, Wednesday the 9th, we've got now Virgo and Gemini are thick in the mix of this distressing force, because these facts of heated, can I read my own writing? Come on, Lori. Lori. I write so fast that I can't read it when it's done. And I spend usually an hour doing my analysis for you before these weekly forecasts, so bear with me a moment. Virgo and Gemini are mental. A fire is mental energy. But the mental energy in distress is being you obsessed with your thoughts, being running crazy with your thoughts, being chained to the past in your thoughts. So this is a detrimental day for all of us, but Gemini and Virgo, and if you're prone to nervousness or anxieties or panic, this is a day when you really need magnesium. You really need to ground yourself outdoors. You should make some soup today or eat some root vegetables. Have a big fat baked potato, and that'll help. Take magnesium, take potassium. Stay calm. Do your best to be the calm. This day I wrote heated. I still can't read my writing. Virgo and Gemini are now in the distressing force, in the facets of this heated pressure. That's it. These pressure. And so it can be really ugly words spoken today. Pisces and Virgo are in conflict. And Pisces in conflict with Virgo is over issues of, could be a health crisis. People can be getting sick. One is fighting with the other about what things we need to get rid of and what things we need to keep. And on a spiritual level, this is rather than going to your priest, your church, a higher power, or aligning yourself with your soul purpose, you're going to get down and dirty in the dirt of Virgo and be debauched and debased and depraved, because you're going to take your baser energies. You're going to let them rule you rather than your spiritual energies. So you can even think of the week as cutting yourself. Stand up and take measure. Here's my waist. Here's my head. So are you living heart up, or are you living belly down? And belly down involves your sexual organs. Are you living honestly with your heart and your mind connected to your stars? Or are you down in the dirt and even lower, down into hells? That's a big question. On the 10th, we've got this continues, the same energy continues. But now that beautiful Venus and Saturn that were favoring us earlier in the week, that ride or die, death do us part, the vow we want to keep and care for, is opposing the moon. That's not so nice. And that shadow and shade, and rather than deciding to commit and cooperate, we're deciding that love is dead. Love is over. And then now Aries, the Sun and Neptune are in, there's this fantasy and illusion going on with Aries, but it's squaring Mars and Cancer. So that could be somebody leaving the family values and going off with a bad boyfriend or girlfriend. Kids actually running away from home to go run to the one, and this happens time immemorial. We're not going to listen to what mom and dad says. We're not going to listen to what our values are. We're going to go and feed our emotions and our hormones and our egos to get fulfillment with someone that's not worthy, and somebody that will take us to hell sooner or later. And again, we still have Pluto squaring Black Moon Lilith squaring Mars. Pluto's building up to oppose Mars at a peak that happens on the 19th. That is very, very hard. Now, this Pluto-Mars opposition is the third one we've had this year. If you're new to the channel, go look at Pluto plows into Aquarius Part 1 I made in November when this began. Pluto Part 2, because we were cleaning our furniture and my husband was chatting up my old friend cleaning our furniture, making a lot of noise, and you could see me getting pissed off in the video and hollering over the sound of the machine because I'm a little hothead, and I admit it and I know it. And for people like me, those of you that have strong Scorpio energy or strong Arian energy or strong fire energy, Sagittarius, Aries, Leos, if you're Scotch-Irish, Irish or Scottish, Italian or Latin, Mexican, and all those layers of Latin underneath, the Colombians, we have a lot of blood. We have power, and we can really hurt people with our words, and we're kind of little firecrackers, and this is going to be a tough week for us. So acknowledge who you are. Now, if you're on the cool side, the lymphatic side, the, peace at all costs and kind of unaffected and unemotional, things are going to stir up in you anyway this week, and you could find yourself acting the opposite of what you portray on the daily basis of, I don't do that, I don't lose my temper, I don't hurt anybody, but maybe you're a secret stab them in the back kind of talking to the boss about the other employee that's really trying so very hard to make it. So that's big, it's big. The saving grace is that while Venus is in a compromising position today, it is conjunct the North Node. And so you can strive to believe in something higher, to know that there are better people on the earth, more good than evil, always and forever. We can always count on that. We can always rely on that. But are you in that group? Are you in that family? Are you with those people? Or are you getting down in the mud and throwing your pearls to swine and wrestling with pigs? Are you? Why? Why would you do that? You're going to get dirty. You're not going to smell good. So think about those things. That saving grace of Venus and Saturn in Pisces is in harmony to Mars in Cancer, which is sextiling Uranus and Taurus. So while this day has equal difficulty and goodness, it's really at a peak. It's awful on Tuesday, but it's the peak of the balance on Wednesday. Make the damn choice. Make the choice. But with this sextile to Uranus and Taurus, from that whole configuration, I'll repeat it again. If you're a student of astrology, we write in symbology. We have our own language, and we write in symbols. We don't write in words. I don't know if you can see this, but this is what your weekly forecasts look like. You can see all those little notes that I make. Okay, so what is the astrological configuration if you're one of my students? You do Venus and Saturn in Pisces, conjunct the North Node, trining Mars and Cancer, sextiling Uranus and Taurus, sextiling, and then the Mars and Cancer is also in a sextile. So Venus is in a sextile to Uranus, and Mars is in a sextile to Uranus. In this tiny blue triangle in the stars above, if you had a telescope to look and see, you would see what looks like a little mini triangle of harmony. And that's grace. That's a saving grace. That's where you go to get the help to alleviate and release yourself from the devil and the people that are holding you down and holding you under and making you feel horrible, which eventually makes all of us sick. All right, so now we're on to the 11th Friday. Friday the 11th. All signs are now involved. The whole zodiac is involved in this pulling tension between Mars and Pluto and the full moon on the rise, the sun against the moon. And again, that there's an emphasis to the T-square. Who's in the middle? It's stupid Lilith. So I teach my students that T-squares are like pressure cookers. And that point of volatility, That point of hell and pressure is Black Moon Lilith. Somebody's there, somebody's creating it, somebody's causing it, and it's really powerful Friday. We've got Pluto and Mars at the opposition. They're almost exact. It builds up to that on the 19th. And then we have the North Node, what your fate is, opposite the South Node. And we've got the Sun going crazy over the issues in the family. The Sun in Aries with Neptune, the lies and disillusions. The drug addict child that you're housing and supporting and helping is now back with his old gang doing drugs again. It's really bad. Or the alcoholic who promises not to drink again is you find the flask. There's deception with this Sun in Aries about what the direction's supposed to be, and it's squaring Mars. Words are not following through with actions, and this full moon is nuclear and it's explosive, and that means out in the world, atomic bombs, wars, nuclear blasts that end lives. This energy, make no mistake, is violence, brutality, criminality. It's spousal abuse, it's child abuse. Your inner world and outer world show explosions, collisions, endings, death. And it's the most dangerous, forceful nature, indoors and outdoors. And in society, it's revolts, those rude and evil people that refuse to compromise, that are hell-bent on destruction and destroying via riots. And Mars and Pluto are weapons, so that's guns. And that's to death. And that's burning, literally burning. And literally burning in hell, I hate to say. So now I'm coming to the final part of this video with the full moon in Libra. Again, it's 23 degrees of Libra. I've got videos that talk to each of you for April. So if you're in struggling, if you're in strife, maybe the words in the astrological wisdom of these patterns and behaviors for each and every individual sign will help you. And guys, there's no excuse not to go to therapy. We all need it. Nobody's perfect. We all have pain, hurt, and suffering from childhood, from broken marriages, from betraying partners, from people that we can't count on, from losing jobs to losing our economy to losing our health. Nobody's immune to these things. Let's get real. There is no perfect, and there's teletherapists. So if you feel uncomfortable about driving or you live in a rural area, there's teletherapy just waiting for you. And there's such good people out there that have devoted and dedicated their lives to learning these patterns, these signs, these probabilities, these predictable behaviors that happen when you come together and then you fight, and it's hate and it's love. And as an astrologer, I do compatibility readings, and I will help you see whether or not your partnership is one of these caustic, obsessed, tumultuous relationships. For you, Aries and Libra, it's you. Taurus and Scorpio, it's you. Cancer and Capricorn, it's you with each other. So if each of your three keys are in these, wow, the whole relationship's about trying to come together to have some kind of balance and equilibrium. And that is what the full moon is about. So the two people are Libra. Libra and Aries are wrestling. What is that for you, for me, for all signs? It's my individuality in the relationship. If it's not cooperation, then it's going to be contention. And if it's tipped one way or the other, someone's neglected and someone's having a party without their partner. So again, we still have that horrible T-square to Lilith. There could be a third party involved, whether it's intrusive in-laws or a son or stepdaughter or whatever. In a second marriage, creating the havoc, there's problems. Mars and Pluto, where they are with each other, and Black Moon Lilith is that mother-in-law that's constantly interfering with the mother who just gave birth to her new baby, and she thinks she knows better, and there's causing frustration and upset to the fact that the mother's milk is drying up out of tension and fright and fury and, just disbelief. And you've got to cut those people. You've got to give them timeouts. You have to take breaks from those people that are constantly trying to control what does not belong to them. And once you become married, that soul relationship has to be of primary importance, and you have to give it time and devotion and energy, and keep those outside forces outside where they belong, whether it's in-laws or parents, or some daughters never leave their dads and husband gets left behind the father, or They have a son they adore, and the husband's left behind because now all their love goes into the baby, and the husband goes outside of the marriage to get his fulfillment. There's so many circumstances that are predictable and patterned, and it's going to happen if you don't care for your primary relationships. So our health is in question, and all signs are divided, and we need attention to those. The last thing that I wrote about, and I'm going to repeat this again, the Pluto-Mars axis is the most dangerous configuration that we have. It's caustic, it's diabolical, it's death. There's going to be lots of death. It's a force of nature, whether it's your internal explosions, things are going to build up and come out, and it's going to get all over everybody in the family. It's violence, it's brutality, it's rape, it's criminality. In the opposition, it's someone taking their own life because they can't cope anymore and they can't take it. It's spousal abuse, it's child abuse, it's elder abuse. Societally, again, it's revolts, riots, and it's rude and it's evil. Make no mistake, Mars opposite Pluto is tyranny. And that's within governments, and it's very sexual. So it is that husband finding his fulfillment outside of the marriage and saying, wow, I don't get this at home. And then he's lured back again and again and pulled back again and again. Or the husband or boyfriend or young teenage boy who's spending his nights looking at these nasty people having sex on cameras or providing sexual outlet via the internet. And it's evil. And it addicts the brain. Those pleasure centers get triggered, and then you go back for more and more, like the drug addict or the alcoholic. One drink's not enough, then it's 4, then it's 10, then it's every night after work, then it's every weekend, or I'm sneaking it at my home. This addictive behavior is very much a part of the Sun and Neptune, opposite these energies, Moon and Libra, and feeling alienated somehow from my partner, my family, my children, whatever it is that drives you to go outside of the marriage with a substance or a person. And that's this is the straight no chaser version of the week ahead. So it's sexual and physical immorality with Black Moon Lilith at the peak of this. And then the Mars-Pluto opposition is the brutality and danger. Maybe you're going to get caught. Maybe there's weapons involved. And maybe you're going to lose family members this week. And I'm sorry. I'd like to leave this astrology week forecast on the high note. You've got to go belly up or fall back down. The choice is yours. And you've got to make a decision whether you choose to live in the light and goodness of the love of God and the belonging of the covenant of where you were born and for all the gifts you were given that are your birthright. Or are you going to wallow with pigs and take other people to hell because you're sick and you refuse to get help? And that, I pray for you. I pray with my heart and my soul that you do take the steps to find God. Dear Jesus, for everybody listening to this video, I pray to heaven on high, to all the saints and all the angels, and to our Blessed Mother, that the Holy Family comes into each and every heart of every person listening to this video, that they know that while their family on the earth may not provide them what they need, for all that feel abandoned or neglected or rejected, Father God, Mother Mary, I pray in Jesus' name that they come home to you through a church, through a minister, through a priest, through a reconnection to the divine. I pray this with all my might in Jesus' name. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Bye for now. You guys take care, be well, and be careful this week.